This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, and the stories that leads today's show are as follows: trading privacy for movie tickets. Windows 10 is introducing some incredible accessibility features. The WannaCry hero has been arrested after arriving in the United States. We're going to talk about Facebook translations. And we're going to talk about the FCC commissioners, of course, that and all the news of the day. I want to welcome you to episode 1217 of the Geek News Center podcast for Monday, August 3rd. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You too can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider or simply paypal.me/geek news. You can always pick up Ohana gear at cafepress.com/Ohana store. Hey, I want to give a warm welcome to all the brand new listeners of the show. I want to thank you for being here. And really, all it's about is very simple: to stay connected and be part of our Ohana, be part of our family here. We just want you to visit geeknewscentral.com. Get over to the website. All you got to do is get on the right-hand column there and subscribe to the show. It's simple. Whether you be an iOS user, Apple user, iPhone user, iTunes user, doesn't matter. Just click on Apple Podcasts. If you're an Android user of any type, don't worry if you don't have a podcast app. We're going to help you pick one of 13 that works with basically being able to one-click and subscribe on Android. Click on the On Android button. Or if you want it old school, you can get the show via email or in Google Play or in Stitcher, TuneIn, or by just a standard RSS feed. If you have no idea what I mean by what I'm saying at all, just click on the more subscription options. Of course, you can subscribe to our newsletter as well. That's right on the main website. That's got a link there, and all I do is I basically package up the blog post that I put up for today that contains all the links of everything I'm going to cover and drop it in your inbox. So get signed up for the newsletter. That way you'll never miss a single episode along with subscribing with the show. If you've got comments on today's show, it's easy. Email me, geeknews@gmail.com, or follow me on Twitter @geeknews. You can join our Slack channel by sending an email to geeknews@gmail.com and say, hey, I want to be part of your Slack channel. You can, of course, follow on Google Plus or Facebook just by searching for my name, Todd Cochran. You can watch this show on the Roku via the Tech Podcast channel or on the Apple TV. You can listen on the Amazon Echo by telling your Alexa device to play the latest edition of this show's name. Of course, you can listen. Oh, sorry about that. I keep forgetting I've got one sitting here. A Amazon device, that is. You can listen on Stitcher or watch review on Blueberry.com or tell your Google Home device to play the podcast Geek News Central. Of course, partner shows include No Better Than Average with Jacob and Jeff, the Gadget Professor, Mr. Don Bain, the Pro Gear site being basically put together by my team. We've got and the Podcast Legend Show, which is returning. We're starting to get podcasters booked now. And, of course, the new media show that's done by Rob Greenlee and I every Saturday morning that he and I are either, well, when we can do a show, and it's most weekends. This weekend will probably be on a Sunday because Rob's got a family event on Saturday. So what else is going on? I tell you, it's this show would not be possible and everything that I do here without our good friends over at GoDaddy.com. And really what we want you to do is take just a moment when you're visiting the website or you're thinking about picking up a domain name or picking up a hosting account or have that creative spark that happens in the shower. We want you to visit geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And when you get on that page, all the deals are there. All you got to do is just scroll down the page, and whether it be 30% off new product purchases, a 99cent.com, whether it be $1 a month economy hosting or $1 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain. So for $12, you get a domain name, which has an $8.49 value, and you get a year's worth of hosting. Incredible deal. Make sure you look at the ongoing pricing when you check out. Make sure you know what year 2 pricing is going to be at the plan level you pick. But all you got to do is just click on any of those links or just copy those codes and use them at the checkout. Of course, if you're a business owner, 1 free month with GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. And again, all those codes are available at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. We want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here. Been with us 12 plus years. I can say that now. And they joined us in July of 2005. So, again, big thanks to GoDaddy for their ongoing, longtime support of this show. Well, just to get you guys kind of caught up, and this week has been, be honest with you, it was gone that fast. It's a whirlwind, and I told you on the last show, you can't see it, but the office is destroyed. It's a wreck, and I've had something bothering me for about 6 months with the camera set up here in the studio. So, like 15 minutes before the show, I decided to flip the cameras. And they're not fully dialed in yet. Color balance is not right. If you look between camera 3 and camera 4, the blue shirt's pretty close, but my contrast is a little bit off. So, yeah, I got to get them dialed in. But camera number 2, it's really off. But what I found is when I'm doing the show with Rob, because there's a window right there, and then when the sun comes up, and even though I've got that window with slats and stuff, every once in a while we get a beam, and the light doesn't get right in the room because it gets bright. And this camera is a better camera to do this shot with Rob, so that's why I changed it. And I'm going to have to mess with the camera mounts now because I've got the one designed to hold like a 5-pound camera, now holding up like a 12-pound camera, and it's not right. I'm going to be straight up, so I've got to get it fixed. But anyway, that's what I did right before the show started for whatever stupid reason. But yeah, full week of meetings. Got great workouts in. I've stayed about a day and a half at 189. So I'm hoping we are now below 190 and can keep the march going to 175. It's been forever 195 to 189, and I'm sure it's going to flex a little bit, but yeah, and it's still, again, just trying to make sure, pushing the plate away. I had to force myself today. Something my wife made was really, really good, and I was like, oh man, I really want to go back and get another scoop, and I took my dish to the, wash my dish and put in the dishwasher. Very, very hard. Very, very, very hard. And when I get stressed out, I like eating, and I've been just a little bit stressed, but part of it's because I've got a wreck in here, and that's gonna get done tomorrow, or the weekend. I can't hardly handle it myself. But so what I have been doing today, believe it or not, is CES. Yes, I'm already thinking about January. Talked with Kirk, our executive producer that is putting the shows together for us, and the topics for the shows. He gets about 80% of them. I get the last 20%. Him or I are really in sync right now, and I really appreciate everything's doing. So I was talking to him about dates that he's gonna be able to fly out. Kirk's gonna be the camera. Well, he's gonna basically be the social media guy. I'm gonna have him run snaps of every booth we're in and take pictures and tweeting and Facebooking and all. He'll basically own my cell phone for the week and live blogging and all that stuff. And then I'm seeing if I can get the cameraman we had last year to come back and run with us again. But we're definitely going to be focusing this year at CES on startups. 100% startups. We're going and not leaving one hall for 4 days. I've already been in contact with CEA, said they need a bigger room than we had last year to do our live stuff because we are going to do live again this year, probably 4, maybe 5 hours a day. But we're going to bring in all these cool startups. It's from this one, it's like 900 companies in one building, and I guarantee you it's going to be fabulous. Um, but I'm going to stay away from all the big booths. We're going to stay out all the big halls. We're going to be strictly doing a startup focus this year, and it's better for the show, better for me because if financially we can work with those shows to do extra promotions and sponsorships through the year. So I'm really jazzed about the plan for 2018 CES, and keeping the crew small, keeping the live rig small. So it's one of those weird things. You're in your shower, and I'm just sitting there thinking about this, that, this. Can I do with that? I don't have to take this. I've got gear still in Michigan that I'm going to have to ship a few things. So the main thing is going to the small crew. It's Friday when we finish up. I want to walk out of there in one shot, boom, and we're out. And the parking situation there is different. Loading's going to be different. It's not going to be as easy to depart. We can't make like a multiple loads. We have to get everything in one shot and get to the curb. So we'll see. We'll see how this is going to work. And it's a whole different venue location. So it'll be fun, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, so that's been going through my mind over the last couple of days, and it's one of these things where I get fixated on stuff, and it's not necessarily good, but that's just the way it is. It's like sometimes how I can drill down through and pre-think all stuff. So anyway, but podcast award nominations over, so we're working on the slate and so anyway, no big announcements on that until August 12th. Okay, I think that's it. Let's get into the show. I got a full stack of stuff for you today to go through, and a good lineup of content tonight. And for those of you on the live stream, thanks for being here. Hey, Jason, good morning. And Jason is in Tampere, Finland today. So awesome. It's mid-morning for you, yeah? Let me look here. It's 8:19. So no, it's very early morning for you. And if you're on YouTube, you can come over on facebook.com/Cochran as well and hang out. All right, so let's start the first piece today I've got in the stack. Windows, I just saw this article today on CNET, and this is an accessibility feature that I think is new. But it says you soon will be able to control Windows 10 with your eyes, an option which gives you a launch pad and lets you use your mouse and keyboard with a stare, aims to improve the accessibility of the operating system. Whoa. The company introduced a beta version of eye control into Windows 10, which includes a launch pad that lets you choose between mouse, keyboard, and text-to-speech options. Windows 10 will support the Tobal Eye Tracker 4C with future eye tracking cameras to come. The move will enable people with limited or no ability to move their arms a chance to more easily use Windows 10. It's part of a broader push by Microsoft and the larger tech community to make products accessible to more people. So this is awesome. And there's a demo. I'll have the link up in the show notes. So, we have a lot of people that listen to this show that are either vision impaired, that are, you have some sort of a disability. This is really good. And anytime we can have accessibility features that improve the ability for people that have limited mobility and so forth to be able to use tech is really, really awesome. So we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll see how this turns out, how well it works. In the title of the show today, I talked about trading your privacy for a movie ticket. This, in my opinion, is one of the most disgusting things. Well, it's not disgusting. It just goes to show you what people are willing to give up to share everything that they do online. Verizon Wireless is offering a new rewards program that requires you opting in to another Verizon program that shares your web browsing history with vendors and partners. The program is called Verizon Up. It's a replacement for the similar Smart Rewards program, and it lets customers earn a credit. Now, listen to this, it earns a credit for every $300 they spend on Verizon Wireless products and services. Credits can be used to claim rewards such as streaming subscriptions, movie tickets, and discounts on device upgrades. In order to enroll in Verizon Up, customers must also agree to enroll in Verizon Selects, a targeted advertising program that shares one's internet and app usage history with other companies. I guess this has been around a while, with this Verizon Selects being renamed to, Smart Rewards being renamed Verizon Up. They say we don't share information that identifies you personally outside of Verizon, as part of this program, other than with vendors and partners who do work for us. Let me read that carefully. We do not share information that identifies you personally outside of Verizon as part of this program, other than with vendors and partners who do work for us. The program says emphasis ours. We require that these vendors and partners protect the information and use it only for the services they are providing us. Are you willing to sell your entire web history for some movie tickets? You give me unlimited free wireless wireless mobile and wireless data. You give all that, Verizon, you give all that to me free, everything. All I can eat. Basically no blocking, nothing. You can have my browsing history. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to be the product? Do you want to be the product? This is incredible. Apparently, Verizon expanded this program after buying Yahoo. And remember, Yahoo is pretty big and encompassing, and that would be a partner they work with and somebody they own. So, Congress and the president recently prevented new web browsing privacy rules from taking effect. The FCC rules would have required home and mobile internet providers to get customers opt-in consent before sharing or selling their browsing and app usage history. Remember that. The rules have prevented ISPs from refusing to sell internet services to customers who won't waive their privacy rights. But they would have let ISPs offer discounts or other financial incentives in exchange for opting into a personalized advertising program as long as the terms are properly disclosed. It blows me away. And I bet you a lot of people signed up for this. Oh, yeah, I love some free movie tickets. I don't care if you share my information. Yeah, why not? Unbelievable. So when you hear about Verizon Up, run. WannaCry kill switch hero Marcus Hutchins was collared by the FBI on his way home from DEF CON. Now, this is a gentleman who stopped the malware spread. He was the guy that basically found and activated the kill switch in the WannaCry ransomware, which, just so you know, they were able to extract $140,000 in bitcoins to get basically ransom from companies to basically have their files um, unscrambled. Now, there's an update on his detention. He was arrested on suspicion of creating a bank account raiding malware called Cronus, and he's being held in the FBI's Las Vegas field office. So he's been arrested on suspicion. So how long can they hold him before they charge him? So we won't know for a few days, but this apparently happened today. Or no, happened on August 1st. No, happened today on August 3rd when he was trying to board the airplane. So we will see. We'll keep an eye on this. We'll talk about it on the next show, but the FBI rolled him up. I think DEF CON is going to become a conference where people will not come internationally to attend this event. It sounds to me like they let him have his vacation, spend his money, and got ready to go home, and that was a way of saying thank you. Facebook translations are now entirely powered by artificial intelligence. And I'll be honest, with my wife having a Japanese family, I'm always hitting the translation button on their Facebook post, and they've always been like, like I might understand a quarter of the sentence. Japanese is very hard, and I'm going to test the new Facebook translation AI and see how well it does. But I've very rarely seen a Japanese translation program work really well. I saw one at CES last year that was awesome, but it was designed for restaurants and that kind of stuff. It really wasn't designed to be in a phone. So, but if you're doing Spanish and some other languages, you're definitely going to get probably some better results from the translation button. Won't be very long, and we'll all be able to talk to each other no matter what language you speak. I think our phones are going to be able to handle that pretty good, or decently soon. The FCC is set to return to its full strength of 5 commissioners after lawmakers in the U.S. Senate voted on Thursday to confirm Jessica Rosenworcel and Brendan Carr to the agency's 2 open slots. For Rosenworcel, a Democrat, the unanimous Senate vote in favor of her nomination sends her back to the agency where she served under former President Barack Obama. Rosenworcel only left the FCC at the end of last year because lawmakers ran out of time to grant her another term. For Carr, a Republican, his similarly easy confirmation something of a promotion at the agency. He had previously served as general counsel of the FCC under its current chairman. He was a former lawyer for a nation's top telecom company, ties that earned him some criticism from liberal-leaning consumer groups. Carr is expected to become a reliable ally to the chairman as he proceeds with his plans to undo government's net neutrality rules and loosen regulations on the telecom industry. So link will be up in that on the show notes. So Snapchat, who just had a pretty dismal earnings quarter, where their valuation or their shares went down to $12.50, giving them a valuation of $14 billion, was like many companies, got a little bit greedy. It is reported that Google tried to buy Snapchat for $30 billion before they went public. And Snapchat walked away from that. So that's crazy. But anyway, now at $12.50 at $14 billion, they could do a hostile takeover and get them for a song. So, but anyway, Google tried and was going to give them $30 billion, and now their market cap's down to 14. It did get as high as $24 billion when they did their IPO. Those of you that live in London the London government is already bankrolling an extra 1,500 residential EV chargers. Today, Transport for London, London Council, and the Greater London Authority have announced £4.48 million in funding for new street EV chargers. 25 boroughs received roughly £300,000 each to install 1,500 charging points in street side residential areas. So that's cool. Nice to see them putting in chargers like this. So 4.48 million in funding. We'll need a little more of this going on in the United States too. So if you have an EV car in London or in one of the 25 boroughs, stand by. More charging stations are coming. DJI. I'm a big fan of DJI, and obviously they've ruled the roost when it comes to. I didn't send this. They've ruled the roost for a long time when it comes to, basically software and drones. And there's very few American companies that are giving them a run for the money. But 3D Robotics has today open sourced its solo drone control software. So what this is going to do is this is going to allow the open source community to essentially have some software that is pretty well established to be able to, basically modify and update and parse and fork to be able to come up with, some better solutions for basically controlling robots and doing or drones and doing all kinds of cool scenography and all kinds of other stuff. So we'll see where this goes, but anyway, they've opened it up, and the developers can have that to their delight. But it just goes to show you, though, too, when you think about China and DJI and drone development, when you're selling so many drones, you can hire a lot of devs to do a lot of cool stuff. One thing, if you're in the United States, in the lower 48, and you're wanting to have some stuff shipped, Uber has this thing called Uber Freight, and it's expanding to multiple new markets and has added some new features. Now, Uber Freight, the on-demand trucking service, created by Uber and introduced earlier this year, is expanding from its initial market of Texas to areas in California, Arizona, Chicago, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. Uber's also updated the app with new features that personalize the driver app with custom settings and recommendations based on their use. The Uber Freight app will now recommend available loads for drivers based on their past job history and preferred routes. And it'll also surface local hauls that are nearby for convenience. Now, what made me really stand up here was it'll also surface, in other words, make available local hauls that are nearby for convenience. So, here in Hawaii, I don't own a pickup truck. But anytime I buy something big, I either have to call a friend that's got a pickup, or I have to rent a truck. And, Best Buy and a variety of different, not Best Buy, Home Depot and a variety of places, they have relatively inexpensive truck rentals. But by the time you're done, it's $30, $40, $50 to haul something home. So if I'm going to buy a new refrigerator, obviously I'd have that delivered. But if I have something too big for my SUV, like I want to haul a bunch of lumber, I'd love to be able to have an Uber Loco for freight where I could on demand hail a pickup truck to come pick up a load for me and drive it, the short distance I needed to go. That is a cool niche for those of us that don't have a pickup truck. Or if I want to move something take something from my house and take it down to the storage unit or whatever it may be, pretty slick. And I'm excited to see where they go with Uber Freight as time goes on. If they get it really hyper local, like the cars are, it could be very, very exciting. It really, really could. It's been announced that Yelp is selling Eat24 to Grubhub for $287.5 million. And basically, Yelp stock took off. They were down 17% over the year, but since this was announced, they're up 20%. So Grubhub gets a great, and basically, it's a good swap. Grubhub, they do delivery, and Yelp is good for reviews and that type of stuff. So we will see where this leads. But yep, Yelp sold Eat24 to Grubhub for $287.5 million. And for those of you that live in cities that you use Grubhub for, pretty awesome stuff. It really, really is. Okay, if you're planning your next adventure, something you may want to consider, and something I've done in the past, and this is what I do when I travel a lot, is I use Google Earth and Google Streets to be able to, get around a location and see where I'm going and where I'm going to park and what the street looks like and what the, business, do this in New York City a lot. So I can, buildings are close together. Sometimes you can't see the building number and you at least know where you're going, right? And, but if you're really thinking about wanting to do something, they've really made some improvements to Google Earth, and you can use it when you're at the destination to be able to kind of give you some suggestions on where to go to explore, and then it passes it off to Map to help get you to the location and so forth. But they've got knowledge cards and stuff like that. So if you catch yourself in Tokyo or you're in some place and you say, "What is this?" and it brings up the location, it'll actually give you information about the area or something that you're sightseeing on. So if you're planning to do your next adventure, tie in these cool tools that we have to do so. And I have a link up in the show notes, some examples on how they really improved it. Over on the Daily Galaxy at thedailygalaxy.com, and I don't cover, this site. I don't pick up a lot of articles on this. Kirk found this one today, but there's an article on the website that talks about some things NASA are doing that essentially there's a person that works at NASA that's I guess they call the Planet Protection Officer. Matter of fact, I heard they've posted this job and made it available because I think the gal that's been there is leaving. But, and I'm trying to get this to load on my website, but NASA has identified 25 gaps in our knowledge to guard Earth against alien and biological contamination. So, what this story is really about is this planetary protection officer, Catherine Conley, was discussing at a conference the challenges that NASA has to protect both life on Earth from potential aliens and defend potential aliens against contamination from Earth. For example, the agency aims to have astronauts bring pieces of captured asteroid back to Earth from lunar orbit in 2020 as part of the effort called the Asteroid Redirect Mission. And crews returning from Mars could bring back samples collected for the upcoming 2020 rover mission. So, long story short here, their job is to kind of plan and be ready for alien substances, not necessarily little green men, but samples that they're collecting, microbes, and making sure that we also are not infecting stuff that we send somewhere else. Send the rovers to Mars. We didn't want to send them with bacteria that we introduced into the environment in Mars. So, there's like they detected things in the Martian environment as well that are harmful to humans. Chlorine particles in the air. Now, obviously, you don't want to ingest chlorine in any way, and if it's a small particle like that in the air, there's issues there, right? But obviously, you're not going to go walk around Mars without a spacesuit. But at the same time, the transfer of that material from a spacewalk into a habitat could be hazardous. So they're looking at all these things to, and there's 25 real things right now they're watching for that they call knowledge gaps that they have to figure out to establish clear quantitative guidelines on planetary protection that will lead to the eventual international consensus standards for human missions beyond Earth orbit, particularly in support of a collaborative journey to Mars. So it's kind of an interesting title to have and shows you how far outside the box some of the things they're thinking about at NASA is, because we don't want another, that movie, The Andromeda Strain. You don't want something being brought back that essentially takes us all out, and extinction level event because of something that we don't have immunity to. So, long story short, pretty cool article goes into what the Planetary Protection Officer did. Also, NASA's talking about a fully automated science lab could be coming to NASA's new lunar station. And they're talking about to being able to have manned and unmanned, that lunar station being manned or unmanned. And the science is going to go behind that and how you protect the lunar module when you are not there, and a whole host of other things. So, anyway, very, very cool. And they're talking about gateways and being able to transfer from planet and so forth. So NASA's really getting their groove on, and they're working with Lockheed Martin's Next Step program to, who's the prime contractor for a future deep space Orion spacecraft, and thinking about some of these things that they're going to have to put in place in order to have a lunar module that is going to be crewed and uncrewed, and what happens when a crew is not there, and what type of robotics have to be in place to maintain the outpost. So pretty cool article on that on space.com. So I have the link up in the show notes on that. All right, we're fast approaching the solar eclipse. I've got an article with lots of good streaming sites that'll give you some ideas on where you can go to actually, if you don't want to walk outside and you're not in a position to see it, you can watch it live on the internet. So a bunch of sources for that. Skype now has got a new feature. Skype, and thanks to PayPal, have teamed up, and you can now send money and receive money in the middle of a Skype conversation without having to switch apps or open your browser. So Microsoft recently gave Skype a makeover to help appeal the next generation of internet users. This ended up annoying some users who really don't like the Snapchatification of Skype. However, it hasn't stopped Microsoft from forging ahead with new features. So you can send money using. Oh, what's going on here? Where's that coming from? It must be coming from. Oh, that's weird. All of a sudden I had a speaker turn on. Hang on. I just killed a browser window, so something loaded an ad. I think that was space.com that did that. So anyway, going back, you can send money via PayPal through Skype. Good article if you're planning on traveling. And it talks about the difference between, if you don't have an airline preference, talks about the differences between seat width between American Airlines, Delta Airlines, United, Southwest, Aeromexico, Air Canada, Air China, Air France, Alaska Airlines, British Airways, Frontier, JetBlue, KLM, Spirit, Turkish Airlines, and Virgin America. Here's what it boils down to. Seat width is really the difference is 17 to 18.5 inches. That's pretty standard across the industry. There's a few that do 16 to 19 inches, and that's United Airlines. And it depends on the airplane type. And also pitch, how much room you have in front of you. And it typically averages between 30 and 37 inches. So not that much room in front of your face before, I guess it all depends if a person is leaning back or not. So anyway, it lists those, at least in Coach, what the spacing is. Facebook has expanded stories, and I haven't used stories in Facebook very much, but they've expanded stories to be able to do it not only from your phone but also to your PC. So if you've done any stories in Facebook, and you've done it from your phone, and now they've expanded it so that you can do it on your PC. So I guess it's the Snapchat equivalent trying to get people to use that versus going to Snapchat. Also, if you're an Android user, I got a good article on how to sync music with your Android phone or tablet. I think that would be pretty simple, but there is a variety of ways to do it with Android. And if you happen to like iTunes, which most Android users don't, there's even a way to sync iTunes as well to your Android phone. But there's a way to manage your music manually, and there's some tools. Also, wireless syncing from your PC. So I have all this link up in the show notes. You can check that out for you Android users if you're looking for some new ways to get the music onto your Android device. This is amazing. The Transportation Security Administration confiscated a record 96 firearms from carry-on bags in airports around the country last week alone. Of the guns confiscated, 85 were loaded and 26 had a round chambered. The last previous record of 89 firearms found in 1 week was set just last month. Flyers who bring guns to security can get first of all, they get their guns seized, and they can get fined as much as $11,000. Guns are only allowed in checked baggage if they are in locked, hard-sided containers, and of course unloaded. The TSA says that all too frequent occurrences usually happen from passengers that had no ill intent. That doesn't mean that those well-meaning travelers don't end up with a citation or even arrest. And he says just because we find a prohibited item on an individual does not mean they had bad intentions. That's for law enforcement officers to decide. TSA stated in a news release in many cases, people simply forgot they had these items. How can you forget? You've got a gun in your handbag. Really? Is there that many people that are that absent-minded? That 90 people and 96 people in a week? Blows me away. That it would be that many people. Especially if you're carrying. If it's actually on you and you forget, that's even more nuts. It really, really is. I'm all about people's rights to be able to carry, but there's certain places you can't go with a gun. And there are certain if you have a license or a permit to have a concealed firearm, you know the rules on where you can and cannot go with that firearm. There's certain places you got to leave it in the car. Simply amazing, really is. I don't know how someone can be so absent-minded, but $11,000 and some handcuffs wake some people up for sure. You can now use Google image search to find recipes. I think I do it all the time. I look for something new. And you can go into Google Images and actually search, and they'll show you a picture and the recipe. So, pretty slick. You can share it or save it. So awesome. For fellas, you have no excuse. You can now find a new dish. Or you can, if the wife asks you to make something, you can go to Google Image and Google the dish, and they'll fire up a recipe for you. Firefox is making some change to its tabs, and it's going to look more like the version of what do they change it to look like? It's going to look more like Microsoft Edge. I haven't used that browser hardly at all, but the new look arrived Thursday in a Firefox nightly test version of the browser. They say it runs faster and tests way better with users, said Mark May, Vice President of Firefox. You can imagine the it looks like Edge discussion he added, but everyone likes it once they get past it. Cosmetic changes done well can make software easy to use. My tabs are critical for doing this show. This show would not be possible in its current format without tabs on browsers. Those of you that live in London, what's the story with Deliveroo? With acid attacks against drivers of the fast food delivery service. Deliveroo is now providing its workers with a helmet-mounted camera. Since attacks, over 70 Deliveroo riders have said they do not want to complete a delivery because of a safety fear to a specific address. So, I guess they're having trouble in the Hackney area of East London, which is a trouble spot. But apparently, people do not like this delivery service. It's either because of their, and I don't understand where the issue is. Those of you that live in the UK, please fill us in. What's going on with Deliveroo? Why are acid attacks going against these food delivery drivers? Want to hear from you, okay? geeknews@gmail.com. Remember we talked about Red's hydrogen $1,500, $1,595 price tag cell phone? Well, there's been a release of information showing off the design of the new phone. And the guy that did it was a well-known YouTuber that covers mobile phones. He got the exclusive from Red. So for those of you that don't know, Red has a high-end camera system that really kicked Sony and a lot of other companies in the shins. They came in way under their price of their cameras, doing some really incredible stuff. A lot of movies are shot now in Red, but this is going to be a Red capable 4K camera. And they say the only picture you should be able to get better is actually on an actual Red camera once this phone comes to market. And this will have a very niche audience that's going to use it. But for videographers out there, there's probably a lot of people foaming at the mouth to be able to get access to this phone and this camera. So anyway, there's a video on it. You get to see the design. You don't get to see the holographic display. That's still under wraps. But it's a massive phone. It's bigger than a 7S or 7 Plus. In China, they're pretty sensitive. The Chinese government is there, but a couple of Chinese chatbots were taken offline after refusing to say they love the Communist Party. One of the bots, named Baby Q, made by the Beijing company Turing Robot, was asked, "Do you love the Communist Party?" To which it replied simply, "No." Another bot named Xia Bing was developed by Microsoft, told users, "My China dream is to go to America." When the bot was then quizzed on its patriotism, it dodged the question and said, "I am having my beep and want to take a rest." So, whoa. Um, anyway, the China government ordered these chatbots offline. And naughty, naughty, naughty. You're not supporting the propaganda. Hey, folks, if you got comments on today's show, we'd love to hear from you. geeknews@gmail.com. Tesla, since releasing the Model 3, they're averaging 1,800 new Model 3 reservations a day. Now, think about this for a second. They made good on its promise of delivering its first Model 3 in July. They fulfilled that promise, seems to spurn a bunch of affordable EV hopefuls to plunk down deposits. Tesla reports it's getting, again, 1,800 current reservations a day, but get this, Tesla is currently aiming to build 1,500 Model 3 cars monthly in September and ramp that production all the way up to 20,000 units by December. That means more reservations come in daily than Tesla can build in a month at current rates. Tesla says sales for the Model S and Model X are up. Interesting, some who reserve the Model 3 and then cancel are saying it's taking a long time to get their refunds. Despite booming reservations, Tesla still reported flat quarterly revenue. We'll see where this goes when it comes to when they start, turning these out in volume and get some cash coming in. But 1,800 new Model 3 reservations a day. When I was a kid, I had a Erector set and Legos. But Legos has modernized, and of course, we know about a lot of robotic stuff going on with Legos these days. But now Lego has a new kit, and it allows you to build a robot and then code it to move around. It's $159. It's called the Lego Boost Kit, and it allows you to create 5 different models, including a robot and a kitten. Then using the Lego Boost app for Apple's iPad and Android tablets, you can program their movements and actions however you want. So this gives kids a basic introduction to the world of coding, allowing to link simple commands and what Lego calls a digital carpet. So very, very cool what Lego's doing and spurring interest by kids. There's a big article in The Verge talking about why Apple and other tech companies are fighting to keep their devices hard to repair. We know that oftentimes, if you need a new screen or something repaired on a phone, you have to take it to a computer expert or go to the Apple shop and lose your car. Use your phone, either lose your phone for a few days or it's never fun getting a screen fixed. So all of these companies are part of some initiatives that from the trade group Repair Association and also some environmental groups, which all these companies participate in. One specifically, the Electronic Product Environmental Assessment, or the Green Electronics Council, is basically they've just about stopped trying to even interject with these mobile companies because they know that every 18 to 24 months they want us upgrading our phones and they don't want them easy to repair. And that keeps the cash rolling in. And we know that Apple just had a huge quarter, and it's largely made up of iPhone sales. So anything to keep people buying new is critical. I know there's a little bit of a hand-me-down effect that goes on with a lot of folks, but oftentimes you get my 6S that I had. The problem I had, or the iPhone 6 Plus that I had, it was the battery was not holding. It had so many charge cycles, it basically kind of it was going dead really quick. And if I could have got the battery replaced, that phone would have continued for a long time. Instead, my wife always has it on a charger right now because she refuses to go out and buy a new phone. And but anyway, that's it. Basically, they're saying that they're not being environmentally conscious. I think we all can probably understand the financial reasons behind it. Over at Google, Google's been getting more aggressive at promoting good Android apps in their Play Store, and they've been demoting apps in its search records that crash. So crashy Android apps are getting downranked in the Google App Store. So if you do horrible code and your app crashes all the time, you're going to start dropping in the rankings. And apps that are operating good and get good reviews and don't have a high crash rate, they are going to continue to have high rankings in the App Store. So glad to see Google do this. This private space flight startup Vector has pulled off its second test of its micro rocket. If you remember, Vector is a private spaceflight startup based out of Tucson, and they launched a 40-foot tall vehicle this morning from a spaceport in Georgia. It's the second flight of the vehicle, a full-scale prototype of one of the company's rockets, the Vector R, and though the vehicle did not reach orbit, it put Vector one step closer to the goal of rapidly launching tiny satellites to space starting in 2018. Their goal is to be able to put small payloads from 145 to 350 pounds into orbit and be able to turn around the rockets that they have on a very quick basis. They want to be able to recycle them really quick. So and rapid fire, these minor mini satellites into orbit. So we'll see where this goes with them, and we wish them luck. Charter, boy oh boy, and of course I'm in an area that got took over by Charter, and of course Charter's now. Excuse me, I am not in an area called Charter, but Charter has moved millions of customers to new and often higher pricing. What am I talking about? Charter's now Spectrum, duh. So Charter, when they closed the acquisition of Time Warner and Bright House Networks in May, they were very aggressive and basically killing any discounts and raising prices. So about 30% of the market that is being serviced now by Spectrum have seen increases in their television service and internet service. That acquisition was supposed to cause competition and have the prices go down. Well, it hasn't. Their per user earnings are up because they're being more aggressive in raising prices and trying. Even though they're losing a lot of people because they're cable cutting, a lot of people are adding on higher internet speeds, and they've added pricing to that, and they're getting a premium here. So just be aware if you see your cable bill go up, you've been on some special plan. Do not be surprised that has happened. So if you're on some promotion right now, keep an eye on it. Okay. Apparently, right now, the best back-to-school tech deals at Amazon, Apple, Best Buy, and Target are being rolled out. And this article over on Yahoo Finance says this is the best time of year to buy certain electronics, even better than Black Friday and so forth, because you've got kids getting ready to go to college, kids going and getting into high school. So anyway, link will be up in the show notes. You can check that out on some of the deals that are being available for back to school. Hyperloop One has hit almost 200 miles per hour with its demo. Of course, they had to be careful here because they only have a 500-meter test track. And so they got up to 200 miles per hour in the first 250 meters, and they needed the next 250 meters to slow down. But they did pump the air out to get the Hyperloop track into a 1 millibar pressure level, the equivalent being at 200,000 feet above sea level. So they just need a longer track now to see how fast they can really go. Looks like the concept is going to work, folks. House Oversight Head still concerned surveillance. House Oversight Head, which is Chairman Devin Nunes, is concerned about surveillance. He approves of it. They really jacked this. Listen to this article by Tector. This is the headline they wrote. House Oversight Head still concerns surveillance he approves of as being used against his party. You have to say that like one like breath. I guess it's written correctly, but the way it's set up, the way it's stacked on the page, it just looks odd. But I think we all know that there's been all kinds of leaks and stuff coming out right now. But he said after years of unwavering support for NSA surveillance programs, a one-man booster club operating from inside the Oversight Committee, Nunes is now starting to find things he doesn't like about NSA surveillance. Well, the shoe's on the other foot. And it escalated a few months ago when he was shocked to learn NSA surveillance grabs communications between world governments and may have been used to listen on short-lived National Security Advisor Mike Flynn's conversation with Russian officials. Nunes' hypocrisy continued when he demanded answers about surveillance activities under Executive Order 12333. Again, in relation to possible surveillance of public officials he liked and supported. Nunes should already have known most of the answers to these questions. After all, he heads a Surveillance Oversight Committee, but he didn't because he spent most of his tenure with the Oversight Committee arguing there should be less oversight of Section 702 of the Executive Order 12333. So, sometimes you get what you wish for, right? Google Pixel 2 handsets are rumored to ditch the 3.5 millimeter jack yet again. And we know that some smartphones have dropped, like, of course, the iPhone. But the Pixel 2 XO is rumored to drop the headphone jack for those of you that are Pixel fans. Okay? Android O official release expected next week. Google recently sent out final developer preview of Android O, the next major Android release, which means that the work on the public version has been completed. The final beta is usually a build of the public version that seeds developers so they can test it before the company releases it. So be prepared if you're on a phone that gets regular updates. If not, you'll probably wait till next year by your carrier. PayPal has made digital money cards to send to your friends. Remember those birthday and Christmas cards you used to get from family as a kid? They had cash in them. Well, there were no Game Boys or PlayStation, but they were still pretty sweet, because we always got a few dollars in them. There was a 5, 10, maybe a 20 if Grandma felt generous, right? Now PayPal has launched a virtual counterpart to the money card, meant to be sent to friends along with, say, your share of the dinner bill or something to help them during a difficult time. So you can send a little card with a little money attached to it. And so anyway, friendship card to send cash. You can just send me cash, folks. PayPal.me/Geek News. I don't need a card. If you live in New York, a New York Library card is your ticket to stream thousands of movies. Canopy's streaming service offers 30,000 fields, including the complete Criterion collection, whatever that is. So starting this Friday, the New York Public Library and Brooklyn Public Library System will have access to the Canopy collection, which notably includes every movie in a Criterion collection. You'll need to visit a library branch to get full access, aka library card, but once you do, have access to 30,000 films. You can check them out for 10 days. Pretty sweet. Most libraries have DVDs and digital videos you can check out already. Most of you probably don't know that. It's what your taxpayer dollars pay for. iOS 11 has a camera feature may include scene recognition. So if you're out at a soccer game, the phone's going to recognize you're shooting sports, and it's going to change the mode automatically for you, supposedly in iOS 11. We will see whether that happens. We know that Google does that with the Pixel, but it could make the Apple phone app a little more viable. Remember Michelle Carter? She's the young lady that basically encouraged her boyfriend to kill himself. Well, we know that back in June, she was found guilty of manslaughter for urging her then boyfriend to kill himself. Her sentence came down. Of the maximum 20-year prison, she will face 15 months behind bars, with the remainder of a 2.5-year sentence suspended. She will also get 5 years probation. Carter will remain free as her appeal to the conviction is still pending. The compromise decision followed the defense arguments that Carter was suffering mental illness when she sent text messages to her boyfriend for 2 weeks telling him to take his own life. That didn't sway the court. According to the presiding judge, Lawrence Manez, said he did not find that her age or level of maturity or even her mental illness had any significant impact on her actions. So she's going to do 15 months in the slammer. She's been convicted of manslaughter. Can't change that. Alexa can now stream music suited to specific activities. All right, Alexa keeps talking to me. Sorry about that, Alexa. Alexa, stop. I'm sorry. Did I just shut your Alexas down, everyone? I need to stop that. I am so sorry. I think some of you were listening to the show on that application just. All right, the Amazon device will now play mood music. So this includes working out, meditating, falling asleep, hooking up, music for private time with the significant other, and those are actual activities that Amazon has defined. Alexa can also take requests for specific genres related. Alexa, stop. Oh my God, I'm reading this article out loud. Okay, thank you. I'm reading this article and it just comes out. Some of you are cussing me out right now. We need like an automatic beep button for every time that word is said. The FCC is offering reverse auction to expand rural broadband access. The FCC got the go-ahead for its rural broadband subsidy plan. Connect America Fund in 2014. The fund intended to bring high-speed internet access to least served communities in the United States and has directed $170 million to New York, and AT&T has already added more access starting in Georgia. The FCC just took the next step in the process with a reverse auction that will allocate close to $2 billion over 10 years for telecommunication companies to provide and expand broadband internet access to more rural areas. The auction will begin in 2018, and because they're going to have a lot of companies coming in for the first time, because this is reversed, they're being given money. A company participating in providing subsidized service in rural areas must offer at least one commercial voice and broadband service each, with the rates to be comparable to similar offerings in urban areas. And they recognize that many businesses attending the event will have never participated in an auction before, so they're actually going to put a whole bunch of help documents on the website to help them prepare for this reverse auction. GoPro actually did pretty good this second quarter. The camera company took in $297 million revenue, equaling non-GAAP loss of 9 cents per share. This is way above Wall Street's expectations. General consensus, but GoPro would report revenues $269 with a loss of 25 cents. So this equals a 30% year-over-year growth in revenue. GoPro stock is now up 15% on the news, trading hours around $9.30. Man, that would have been a holy crap. It was 8.25, went to 9.30. Oh, man, oh man, oh man. There was an opportunity missed. You just never know, right? HBO hack feared to be 7 times larger than Sony. Hackers who compromised HBO's system leaked a couple of episodes of shows like Ballers and even the script for next week's Game of Thrones. The hackers said they would leak more content in the days to come. Reports suggest that they obtained 1.5 terabyte of data from HBO's system. Some believe that internal documents, video footage, and emails could be leaked next. On the other hand, HBO CEO Richard Pepler told staff in a note today that the company's email system has not been compromised, adding that forensic review is ongoing. We will see if he's right. All right, those of you that like Chevy, Tesla Model S loses to Chevy Bolt in latest Consumer Reports test. The Chevy Bolt has an EPA range of 238 miles on a single charge. Consumer Reports found its range test of the car that actually went 250 miles on a single card. The Chevy Bolt has beaten Tesla Model S 75D in the process as well. When Consumer Reports test that particular variant of the Model S, it did 235 miles on a single charge compared to EPA estimates of 259. Huh. Wow. Beating an EPA estimate is hard to do. It doesn't happen very often. And they drove the car on a highway at 65 miles per hour with the heating and cooling system shut off. So, Consumer Report does say that there were periods of mixed driving during the test. But anyway, got a good review. If you use LastPass, there's a premium hike. And if you're using some sort of password encryption system, LastPass seems to be about as good as any of them that are out there. But it's going to cost you $24 a year. That's cheaper than some of the other ones that could be $36 or more. Hey, let you know the new Model E4 Plus now available as Amazon Prime exclusive version starting at $139. Details are on the website in the show notes. And also, I'm looking at the Sound Devices Mix Pre 6. This is a fine piece of audio recorder mixer with a USB audio interface. I've got to do some more research on this thing, but this may be a future purchase for me. It's a little pricey, about $900, but this is a sweet piece of gear. But anyway, you guys don't want to hear that. We're at the end of the show. geeknews@gmail.com is the email address that we want you to drop a note from. Let me check and see if we had any comments come in. And bada bing, bada boom. Let me load that up. Let's see here. Yeah, I got one from Ron. Oh, no, this is the same one we read on the last show notes about beware of fake solar eclipse glasses out there, okay? All right, email me, geeknews@gmail.com, or, just tweet me if you want. That's good, too. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in here for the show. We're getting you out of here on time. It's been my pleasure to bring you this show. For those who've been live, thanks for being on. Doug and Jason, thanks for hanging out. And anyway, very, very cool. We'll see everyone next time on the Geekness Central podcast. It's been my pleasure to bring it to you. And we'll be back with you on Monday. Everyone have a great week and take care. Bye-bye.